Everyone, and welcome to our first board meeting for 2023. I will lead off with the meeting because we'll have elections this morning for the position of chair and vice chair for our police board moving forward this year. I'll start with the land acknowledgement. And on this day, we acknowledge that this sacred land on which Smith Falls is now located has been a site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We're grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might meet here today. We are also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in making of the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smith Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with our relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace and friendship, being mindful of generations to come. Thank you, everyone. And so to start the meeting, we will go right into our elections, and understanding that Councillor McGuire has some timeline, so we'll get right into that. I will call the elections for the Smith Falls Police Service Board open, and we will start. I'll ask for nominations for the position of chair. Jen, did you have your hand up?
Oh, yeah, I'd like to nominate Rob Dobson for the position of chair.
Okay, and a second to that? Chris Babcock. And Rob, will you stand for the position?
Yep.
Thank you. Any other nominations for the position of chair? Any other nominations for the position of chair?
I'd like to nominate
Sorry,
Sean Panko.
All right, Sean, and second to that nomination?
I would, Mark.
And Sean, will you stand for the position?
I was going to say no till Rob put his hand up. Sure.
I've been away for a year.
Now, and I'm going to have to ask, because we haven't had an election. Do we do that by closed ballot, Sean, or are you?
I believe with committee appointments that we do, we do it through an open process.
Okay, well then that's the way we'll do it. So we'll
Easier.
I will call for hands then for Rob Dobson. 2. And I will call for hands then for Sean Panko. And 2. Now, does I guess Sean? So I didn't have Rob's hand.
Yeah. So I don't know if Rob wants to make a cast a vote.
Yeah, I'll cast for Sean.
You're casting for Sean?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then the vote is 3-2 in favor of Sean as the chair of the board. So we'll close for the position of chair. Congratulations, Chair Panko. And we'll open the nominations for vice chair. Chris? I don't have any volume from you. No, I'm not sure why you're showing that your mic is on. No. Oh, we lost Chris for a moment.
I'll step in too.
Okay, Jen.
As a woman, I can read men's but very well. If you say silent and motion, I believe he was trying to nominate Rob. He kind of went, so I think he was trying to nominate Rob for vice chair.
And I see Chris is back on. We'll just call for a second. A seconder for nomination for Rob Dobson for vice chair? Chris? Rob, will you stand for the position of vice chair?
Yep.
Any other nominations for the position of vice chair? Any other nominations for position of vice chair? Seeing none, the position of vice chair goes to Rob Dobson. Thank you very much. I will now close the elections for 2023 with our new chair, Sean Pankow, and our vice chair, Robert Dobson. Thank you very much, everyone. And
Thank
we
you.
can proceed with the chair and the chair's remarks.
Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We're excited to start this 4-year term with our new PSB. And Rob, thank you for standing for appointment again, and also for standing for vice chair. Your wisdom and your experience will be invaluable as we move forward. And like everything else, it's challenging times in many ways. So we're grateful we've got a full PSB now to move forward, to help this police service move forward through the next 4 years. So that's going to be it for my remarks today. I wasn't really prepared for much, but I'll ask for any additions to the agenda. Yes, Chief McGilvery?
Just one in-camera item would be the in-camera minutes for approval.
Okay, like maybe that's 6D minutes. Okay, thank you. Ask for declaration of interest, monetary interest, pecuniary interest. I see none.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, if I could interrupt, I did have one other item, which was just a correspondence item. It was another correspondence there is one as 7A. 7B would be another OAPSB correspondence dealing with bail reform.
Okay, thank you. That'd be so 7B.
Correct.
Yeah, my agenda only doesn't have anything under correspondence, but I'll turn back to you at that point. Yeah. Okay, motion to move in camera, please. By Mr. Dobson, seconded by Jen. All in favor? Here, move in camera.
Just so the screen drops, and I just sent a message. And we're back. We're back up.
Okay. Thank you. We're finished during camera session. We've got a few items coming out of the session. I'll turn it to Chief McGilvery for his comments.
Thank you, Chair Panko. And so just from item A was a staffing update. So the board accepted a report from me on staffing, current staffing statuses, and then item B was an identifiable individual, and was an update in that matter provided to the board and accepted to the board. And I apologize. Item A with the staffing, there was a resolution with two upcoming police officer vacancies, is to recruit two positions for patrol constables, and one part-time dispatch position. So that was a resolution by that we will proceed with recruitment on those positions.
Okay, so I'll break those out. So a motion for approval for the recruitment of two new positions, two replacement positions within our frontline officers. Motion moved by Jen, seconded by Chris. All in favor? Thank you. And second, I need a motion to approve the recruitment of a part-time dispatch position. Moved by Rob, seconded by Chris. All in favor? Thank you. Okay, we've got that looked after. Any further, Chief McGilvery?
No, just as I said, item B we dealt with. Item C was a contractual item, which was just a matter that had been brought up previous that just required the board's approval, and so that will move forward. And then item D was the minutes, the previous meetings in camera minutes. If we need a motion to accept those.
Okay. And I guess we would still need a motion to adopt the in-camera minutes outside of the in-camera sessions. A motion moved by Jen, seconded by Rob, and all in favor. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 7, we have 2 pieces of correspondence. Back to Chief McGilvery.
So the 2 pieces of correspondence came from the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards that were forwarded to the board. The first one deals with the new Police Service Act in effect, and obviously the province is introducing regulations that to support the act, and in this case, there's so what they've been doing is as they come out with proposed regulations, they send them out through the all police chiefs, the OACP, and then the OAPSB as well, to just have a look at those, to provide any input or feedback on those. So this is one requesting, and there's a bit of a survey. I haven't gone into it, but the board would be asked to complete a short survey with regards to the regulations dealing with special constables. So there's regulations, and with the new act, the province is looking at expanding the duties that are allowed by special constables, so that just spells that out a little clearer. It also provides with regards to special constables, and depending on their roles and their duties, would be to potentially expand the use of force options. One of them being the tasers would be something that's being looked at this time. So that's where the survey is just looking for input from the provincial chiefs of police, as well as from boards and other stakeholders as well. So the Police Association of Ontario and other agencies to provide input on those regulations so that the province can put some clarity to those. So that's the one correspondence that and it does come up in new business as well, and that would just be and I'm not sure that it needs to come up further. It would just be a case of that's something that the board needs to look at to complete that survey. I think it's February 2nd is the due date, and I'll make sure that goes out again for the board to have a look at. The other item which was added on was another survey through the OAPSB. This one was to deal with bail reform. As you have likely seen, and obviously over the last number of months, we've had police officers killed in the line of duty. The most recent was killed, murdered by somebody that was out on bail for some serious weapons offenses. And quite frankly, had that person not been out of custody, that murder would not have occurred. So very tragic, very senseless. And so as you've seen, in fact, all of the premiers across the country have gone to the federal government with and signed a letter requesting bail reform to protect not only police officers but our citizens from persons that are out on bail for serious violent offenses and weapons offenses. On top of that, the Canadian Association of Chiefs of Police, the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police, as well as the Police Association of Ontario, many other large organizations have also committed and lobbying to lobby into government for bail reform. So the OAPSB is also doing the same. So on behalf of police service boards, lobbying to government for bail reform for serious offenses. So this is a survey, I think, and I haven't gone into it, but we'll make sure that the board gets it and has some direction with regards to assisting in that movement in protecting the citizens of Smith Falls, the police officers that work here in Smith Falls, but the province of Ontario and across the country. So it's an important issue, and certainly something that we need to keep pushing forward and need to be vigilant on to protect everybody from these violent offenders that just keep getting released from custody. So those are the two items of correspondence, and as I said, we'll make sure that the board gets those two surveys, and we'll make sure that they get completed in time as well.
Thank you. Any questions? Well, thank you. I think some keen interest from the board here. We recognize how important these are, and we'll make sure we add our voice to the cause.
Thank you.
Thank you. Approval of minutes from the December 1st meeting. Just hope everyone had a chance to review the minutes. Just need a motion for approval. Moved by Chris, seconded by Jen. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Business arising from the previous meeting. Chief, Budget Monitor.
Yeah, so the 2022, I don't have, and as you can appreciate, with the town has had some changes with in the treasurer's position, so some catch up going on there, and obviously it's a busy time of year with year end 2023 budget and everything. So I don't have a December budget monitor draft. Haven't got, and obviously all the year ends, the payables and receivables haven't been factored into the December monitor yet either. I did get some information from interim treasurer Stephen Dickey. He was very helpful in providing some of the variances in some areas. I am happy to say that it is looking good for the end of our 2022 budget, that we should be in a in a surplus position. I don't have the exact numbers yet because there are still a number of payables that need to be factored in, but I am comfortable in saying the last figure that I saw was in excess of $100,000 surplus. But I am very well aware that some of that will come off. But comforting to and have gone through many of our more significant budget lines, if you will, to make sure that we're on pace for the end of the year, and I'm comfortable in saying that we are. There shouldn't be any surprises when we do get the final draft for the 2022, the December monitor, and the final draft for the 2022 budget. And as soon as that is available, I will certainly get that to the next board meeting. We should, by the next board meeting, I would suggest that we'll have at least a December monitor that will give us a pretty good idea of how we're going to end off in 22.
Thank you. Any questions? Item B, our 23 budget.
23 budget. We with the town and council, we presented the town's budget on January the 9th to council. That was the first draft. It was a high-level presentation by interim treasurer Dickey with regards to all the different departments and where we stood budget-wise. Following that, we had a second meeting that was just a budget meeting with council, and council wanted to have a look at the capital side and trying to look at any potential savings or deferrals on the capital side of budget to help the town meet its goals for 2023 budget. During that meeting, I did present our capital requests, and as you're aware, there was one of the requests aside, so there was not any issue with the replacement of a police vehicle. There was also an item dealing with our next generation 911 system that we've been preparing for. The other item was with regards to relocating radio equipment when the existing water tower comes down and after the new water tower is built. There's been discussion with the town with regards to sort of when or how that's going to unfold. And it seems pretty confident that it's not excuse me, that it's not going to happen in 2023. So the existing tower won't be coming down. The new tower may not be completed by the end of 23. So our equipment is safe where it is. Can remain where it is. That was a $50,000 budget item. It'll obviously have to reappear in 2024's budget, but I'm comfortable in putting forward to the board that if the board is in agreement, we would remove that item from our capital request to the town. And that would go forward and be removed then for the next meeting, which is the second draft, which is on the 30th of January, going to council. So if any discussion on that, or if the board is okay with removing that item, I'll make sure that the interim treasurer Dickey is aware of that.
Everyone in agreement? Okay, thank you. That's
any other questions for the 2023 budget? And just the council seemed content on the operational side of many of the budgets, including ours. And one of the comments from Councillor Brennan was that our increase operationally was 3.6%. Given the inflation rate, Councillor Brennan made it clear that he was very happy that police were able to to hold it to a 3.6%, keeping in mind increases that are out of our control. So I was pleased to hear that from council, and so it's moving forward. I think we should be in good shape for the next draft on the 30th. There will be a couple of items, and unfortunately I haven't got to them yet. There's a couple of items with regards to our grants and whatnot that will offset some of our costs a little bit more. So there will be a slight drop. If it may not get to the 30th of January to the second draft, but certainly by the final draft, I think, and I'll be able to explain to the board that there'll be a little bit of a savings in a few of the lines for the final draft for the police budget. So it will be coming down a little bit.
Good, thank you. Any further questions? No, thank you. Okay. New business, Chief. I don't have anything on my agenda regarding new business. Whether you mentioned
there was a business arising, and it was item C was a recruiting update, and I know we dealt with in-camera items and came out of camera with the recruitment. I think that item was just to further announce, because I'm not sure if at the last meeting it was official that we had the last position filled with an offer of employment, and we have an officer that's starting March the 6th. Constable Mike Hart will be our newest officer starting with us in a few weeks.
Thank you.
So just new business was the OAPSB, the survey on the new regulations. So I think we dealt with that in correspondence. So I don't think there's any need to go any further with those. And as I said, and reiterate just to make sure that the board has access to both of those surveys prior to their due date.
Sounds good. On to the manager report.
Good morning. During the month of December, our service responded to 652 calls for service. In our uniform patrol traffic enforcement, we had 7 collisions reported, 28 traffic complaints, 66 vehicle stops, and 34 charges laid. For Highway Traffic Act, there was a total of 56 charges altogether and 3 charges relating to the Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act. For our step target and alcohol, drug, and criminal related traffic stops, we had 1 dangerous driving, 1 failed to stop after a scene of an accident, 1 authorized possession of a weapon, carry a concealed weapon, possession of a prohibited device. Our step target for December was alcohol and drug related offenses. We had a few ride programs over the season, and we're continuing to do some ride programs into this month as well. Our officers checked approximately 1,600 vehicles. Charges laid as a result of our ride programs, we had 4 charges of possession of cocaine, 2 impaired operation, 2 exceeding 80 milligrams of alcohol, 1 open alcohol in their vehicle, 1 refused to provide a breath sample, 1 drive under suspension, 1 drive no license, and 1 roadside screening device. Our officers had 21 hours of foot patrol and some noteworthy calls for service. We had 14 intimate partner violence calls, 7 bail violations, 2 assaults, 2 break-in enters, 48 mental health related calls with MCERT. Our longest wait time is 3.5 hours with an 8% apprehension rate in the month of December. For our CIB branch, our crime unit still assisting with the missing person file we have. We're continuing with our investigation into the homicide file, but we had a direct indictment from the Attorney General. So there was sufficient evidence to have the accused committed to a trial on first-degree murder. No trial date's been set on that. There's a publication ban as well, but that is excellent news for us and for the family. We do have a great Crown Attorney team that's working with us. So that will move forward into the new year. The officer also investigated historical sexual assault, and the CIB officer also had a guilty plea with a 5-year sentence on a sexual assault case involving a child. There was a publication ban on that. So that was good news as well for the family. And that officer assisted with the road as well. Our CISO officer has been working nonstop on this missing person file. We have reached out to OPP as some of the information, as I'd said earlier, is multi-jurisdictional. OPP are now assisting us with this investigation, with us continuing as the lead. And he's also working on drug intel information as well. Our community service, Constable Tompkins, as you probably know, he's back on the front line of policing, but in December, he conducted school visits, situation table, Special Olympic Christmas party training, and assisted with letters to Santa to make sure that Santa received all the letters that he got. We now have Constable Sean Keoghan that's taking over from Constable Tompkins' role. As you know, Constable Tompkins played a very large role engaging with our community, and having experienced officers like Constable Tompkins back on the road really helps us on the patrol side with our junior officers in gaining some of that experience and encouraging our junior officers to engage with our community as well. So that is it for the manager's report. You want me to get into the business quarterly?
Correct me, I guess. Like you said, there were 1,600 vehicles stopped through the ride programs, and which is great to, if that's a number, that's great to hear. But understanding there were some charges laid, but that represents less than 1% of the vehicle stopped. So just very encouraging that our citizens and people passing through are following the law.
Yeah, we try to do it in different spots as well and different times of the day too. We learn that not always impaired are at night. As you know, we deal with impaired drivers first thing in the morning. So we had made sure, and then for 2023, I've spread out the ride. We get a grant from the government every year. So in 2023, I've spread it out for the entire year. So you're going to see officer presence, not just on their own during the shifts, but also doing ride programs through this grant through the whole year. So if there's an event going on in town, I try to make sure that we had a ride program that's going to go more with what community events are happening in town.
Super.
So yeah, it's always a surprise to us when we deal with impaireds first thing in the morning.
Well, and thank you to Constable Tompkins for his commitment as community service officer for 5 years.
Yeah,
Nice.
at least. Yeah.
Okay, and a great job. And really connected well with, obviously, with so many members of our community, and we're excited to see Constable Keoghan taking on that role. And does he understand his responsibility with the turkey trot?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be wearing the turkey outfit in the fall, but no, we're certainly looking for Sean. Sean is excellent in town and eager to engage. The nice thing is, obviously, Aaron is still active out on the front line, so it really it almost gives us a second community service officer. When Aaron is working, he's out there and he's still engaging well, and as the deputy said, certainly encouraging other officers to stay engaged as well. So it's good.
Wonderful, thank you. And on to the business quarterly report.
Okay, so business quarterly for October to December. There's a total of 233 vehicles stopped, 87 hours of foot patrol, 8 hours of bike patrol, 21 hours in the school, and 54 community service hours, with a total call for service of 1,836.
Thank you. Any questions?
If I can just, I just took the liberty to look just to do some comparison with 2021. We are up about 200 calls for service from 2021. Also happy to say that we our community service, our hours at events and whatnot increased by upwards of 100 hours of events that we were able to be involved in. We were able to almost double our number of hours involved in schools from 2021, and almost doubled our bike patrol hours. I know we we sometimes have a hard time, just staffing in the summertime is difficult, but our staff have put an effort in this past summer to get out on the bikes, and we'll continue to do that this year. So those hours have increased from 2021 through 2022, and hopefully I'd like to see the calls for service not increase, but the hours of our community involvement increase. So, but that's good report there.
Thank you. And our Health IM report, Deputy.
So from October to December, we had 127 calls for service. Our apprehension rate was about 10%. And average time in the hospital was about an hour and 30. There was, as I mentioned before, in December, we had 2 significant wait times at the hospital. But again, as I've said previous, if the person is violent, we don't leave the hospital until they get transported to Brockville. So that's where the extra long wait times can be. But our average is still relatively good, and the higher volume calls is because we use MCERT more often at calls that we used to not do. For example, domestics, like I said, or if someone's having trouble with alcohol addiction or drug addiction and they're in our custody, we engage MCERT with that person. So, and that is the Health IM report.
Okay.
Just again, if I can, Chair, just with I did just pulled some of the 21 stats on that, and we're up, but not by a lot, just barely up by a few calls with our total MCERT calls. Our apprehension rates are just up by 1% from 7 to 8%, and our average wait times are up slightly, but as the deputy indicated, that varies depending on some of the cases that we get, and we are working with the Lanark County OPP as well as the hospital as well for in the next couple of months with regards to working on some protocols for efficiencies and patient transfers at the hospital. So hopefully that'll assist us as well in getting our officers freed up a little sooner.
And just for the benefits of anyone who may be watching now later, can you maybe just provide just an overview of the difference that Health IM and the MCERT program has made in the time they've both been in place?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a huge help for us, and we see it not only here, you see it across the province and across the country. There are a lot more. Most of them in the province of Ontario, they're called mobile crisis response. They have different names sometimes, but same idea of having police teamed up with mental health staff to deal with cases that maybe shouldn't always be just police having to deal with, and having experts in the field of mental health to help to get people that are in crisis, or maybe that are getting close to being in crisis, to getting some referrals to, and the idea is it helps prevent some of those calls from in the future of coming through our 911 system or to police to have to deal with. So it certainly it identifies potentials for referrals sooner than later, and it's a better approach. The Health IM system that we use to assist the officers and our MCERT people in dealing with people in crisis, as to whether they need a referral or whether they need to seek some immediate assistance at a local hospital. And that's helped in cutting down the number of people that we bring to the hospital that end up having to sit and wait in an emergency emergency room. So it certainly helps the hospitals. It helps the people that require that care, that they're not being either stigmatized by being brought to a facility by police, and it certainly gets them the referrals and the help that they need sooner than later.
And is there any word on permanent funding for the MSHER program, or still a grant?
Right now, it's still in grant format. Provincial government seems to be moving towards more permanent funding through the healthcare. We'll certainly provide our support that we have with police officers being part of MCERT. I'm certain that the funding is not going to be taken away, whether it be by way of grant or sustainable funding. I'm hoping more for the sustainable funding going by way of grant. The downside to that is, unfortunately, it doesn't create a lot of stability for our MCERT people that really don't know if that funding is going to continue or not. So these people have been great to be part of our team, and they play such a crucial role in our community. And we certainly don't want to take a chance on losing these people when they really get settled in and work so well here.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions before we move on to the date and time of our next meeting? No. So we go, I guess, 4 weeks down the road, be February 23rd. Is that what you're hoping for, Chief?
Yes, yes, I was thinking of February 23rd would be the last Thursday in February. And that would work, and that would we should be through the budget process as well, that we'll be able to provide. I'll certainly update the board as well in the interim, but we'll be able to provide more information on our final year of 2022 and moving forward to 23.
Okay, so I think we can, I would say, pencil it in there. I understand too that for Councillor McGuire, with his employment responsibilities, that this time of the day may not work for him. So I'm not sure yet if he's made some changes, but let's put it in there, and then if we can maybe send an email out to the entire board and confirm that, and if it's a response that consistently will not work, then perhaps we can find another time that would work for all board members.
Okay, we'll send that out to the board, but we'll pencil in the 23rd, 8:30.
Okay, motion for adjournment. Moved by Chris, seconded by Jen.